Hello everyone, I'm Atch. I'm sitting here with the Dave Smith Instruments Prophet 12, and we're going to try to do a TB303 type patch. I know that a lot of people are purists when it comes to this TB303 thing, but to be honest, I know there's something to be said for a unit that's old and has its wear and tear on it or whatever, but I think a lot of this stuff, excuse me, comes from people that, own the equipment or whatever and have to make some kind of an excuse as to why it's superior, because they probably spent $3,000 or $4,000 on the damn thing. To be honest, excuse me, I'm having a bit of some allergy problems here. When it first came out, it was a piece of junk, and the circuitry inside of it was, it wasn't the most expensive stuff on the market. It wasn't, it wasn't anything special at all, and it was probably retailing for about $300. But nonetheless, the TB303 became an iconic part of, electronic music, and I use that term lightly. But what I'm going to do here is simulate a 303 sound, and I'm going to start with a basic patch here, and that's what it sounds like. So the 303 sound, there's really no other way to explain it except it has kind of a meow kind of to it. If you'll notice that this particular square wave here has it's a very flat start and finish. So in order to get a texture on it like what you would want for a 303, you'd want to put a little bit of your filter EG at the onset. And by a little bit, I mean a little bit, not much. So on the Dave Smith Instruments Prophet 12, I have a low pass filter here that has frequency and resonance. And then underneath the low pass filter, I have a filter EG, which means that a custom grid can be made in attack, decay, sustain, release, ADSR format to control how the filter opens and closes. Being that the 303 automatically has kind of a meowy kind of sound to it or whatever, we can achieve that by taking the attack and just barely coming up with it a little bit, and I would say maybe 10% or so, something. And then what you want to do is probably put your decay at about 10 o'clock, your sustain about 10 o'clock, and your release there too, because we're only looking for the filter to kind of adjust at the onset whenever you hit the key and then stop. I have it on a 24 dB filter setting, and I'm going to take the resonance and put it up to about 50%. So you can hear that that's there. And then I'm going to bring the cutoff down to about 50% as well. And I think we pretty much have it. Now the thing about the TB303 is that I know that on them you have a frequency adjust that changes the character of the sound using a low pass frequency knob on the TB303 itself. But once your envelope is set, I think the best way to achieve the sound of a 303 is to adjust the amount of filter you're sending into your low pass filter EG. And on the Dave Smith, it's called an envelope amount. So you have you have a zero amount, and then you have a negative amount, and then you have a positive amount. So I'm going to showcase what this sounds like just so you can hear on a random arpeggio here what it does when you're using the envelope amount as opposed to the frequency amount. And you can hear that just in this quick tutorial from a basic patch and a couple of little adjustments on the envelope that I've got it pretty close. So, if you just work with it a little bit, you can get it exactly where you need it to be. So yeah, I'm going to try it here. A little delay. Okay, so that's the sawtooth sound, and as a lot of you already know, on the original TB303, there's a switch between sawtooth and a square tooth wave. And so on the Dave Smith, of course, we have 4 oscillators here, and it was just on sawtooth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch it over to a pulse wave. Now, you would think that it would be simple as just changing it to a pulse wave, and then it should automatically kind of fall into line. But that's not really the case. In the TB303, for some reason or another, the square wave has kind of more of a drawn out attack on the front end of the filter envelope. So let's just hear what that sounds like. This is a square wave just kind of running on the arpeggiator there. But what I found is to get it to sound close to the 303 sound is you come up on the attack a bit, probably till about 9 o'clock. And then you'll be there. Maybe add a little distortion on it. So as you can hear, the Prophet 12 is a quite capable synthesizer. And really you can do this with any synthesizer. The thing about it is that, you know, the more I listen to it, there's plenty of acid in here if you want to do some 303 sounds and some stuff like that. And as a matter of fact, you know, we're peaking out at the resonance, which is legendary on the TB303, at, you know, like 60% up. And so, I mean, the resonance still has a way to go. So, I mean, you can get some crazy sounding acid out of this thing. I think that, you know, the most interesting thing about this synthesizer is that, you know, the oscillator sections are digital. And, you know, I do have a TT303, which is Cyclone Analogic's version of the 303. And you know, a lot of people say that doesn't sound the same either. But I've had the original. I have the TT303. I've done side by side tests, and you know they sound exactly the same. I use Bayer Dynamic headphones, so it's not a headphones issue. I've been messing with music since 95, 94, and so yeah. I mean, you know. The arguments, I think, are just to kind of keep people busy. But when it comes down to really programming something, you know, the Prophet 12 has it. So, thanks for tuning in, and cheers.